What do you do when you're out of your Dynasty playoffs? Do you just sit around and watch the other teams play? Or do you make some moves? We'll tell you right now. Producer, hit that button. Welcome to another edition of the Dynasty Pulse right here on Fantasy Sports Advice Network and the Undroppables, as well as Terrestrial Radio 101.5 talking West Tennessee. This is the finest collection of knowers of ball in the industry. There's stiff competition out there, but we're stiffer. It's been a long week, but we're rejuvenized, so lock in. We're about to wild out and hammer down to get you bricked up. I'm Bigz. With me in the Hall of Ball Knowledge, my clowns from a different circus. We got Grindberg, Schultzy, Coach down there, and Chev looking plaintive as always. What's up, fellas?
Oh, man, JSN, better pick it up. It's Thursday night, but we don't know what is happening. But what we do know is not a whole lot with our star wide receiver. That look at Chev's face. Chev is not happy about this one.
Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. May I speak?
You can speak, man. Do it. You have the forum here. Let's do it.
I try not to overreact during the games. I'm not the guy that's going to tweet out some ridiculous stuff in the middle of the second quarter. But right now, I'm not going to lie. Neighborhood pets might be in danger if I step outside.
I've worked real hard for the last few years to not react to fantasy results until Monday night. I watch the games, but I try not to I have so many leagues. If there's one guy that scores a touchdown, it's worthless for me to jump to my phone and go, oh, where does that put? And I've had to, because I used to be like that, just completely obsessive. Now I put my phone away and I wait till Monday.
I got a pet peeve too. I am superstitious as hell. So for me, I if there's a live game on, I will not look on Sleeper or my fantasy roster till the game is over. So I'll give myself a little pressure release valve, at 3:30 on Sunday afternoon to see my lineup before the next game start, and then I give her steak.
I look all the time, man, and I have an aneurysm. So yeah,
especially playoff time, man.
I'm actively shaving years off my life by looking at it and obsessing about it, and I don't care. I can't stop myself. I'm in semis in 20 leagues. So, this is, at this point, I know who's got what where, and I know I don't have to look at my phone to know that JSN has a big fat goose egg. Goose baba. Zero. Zilch. Nada. 9, as they say in Spanish.
And on the other side is when you're hitting bets, you know you got the dopamine rush of that hitting. And your lineup is hitting, you're getting the alert. So there is another side of, hey, there is some joy in life.
I need JSN to hit black tar heroin hit in this.
And this has been how not to become a serial killer, or how to become a serial killer.
JSN, this is on you, big dog.
Yeah. You're the reason this is all collapsing right now for all of us, and hopefully our lineups can withstand this debacle that's happening right now. But got a lot going on in the storylines here headed into the weekend, and it's playoff weekend. It's almost championship weekend, and this is what the money is all about, right, guys? And people are putting their chips where their mouth is, and we've got a lot happening right now. And let's talk about our first storyline, gentlemen. Let's do it. All right, so our first one is for you, Schultzy. I gave you kind of a layup here because you know everything you need to know about your guy here. But what happened last week? And so when Dynasty Dreams go supernova and Trevor Lawrence just broke fantasy playoffs, week 15, he had his legacy game. He cemented or erased whatever doubt people had in Trevor Lawrence, including myself. Schultzy, I was one of the biggest doubters of him. all throughout the offseason, and he's come on really strong in the last couple of weeks. He demolished the Jets, and I guess it was the Jets. Obviously, we got to temper our expectations, but man, 5 touchdowns through the air, 51 yards rushing, and a rushing score. It wasn't just a win, it was a hostile takeover. He'd thrown for multiple touchdowns in 4 straight games, and he's cleared 25 plus fantasy points in 7 consecutive weeks. That is great stuff. Top 7 quarterback right now. So, all honesty here, check. Let's get you on the groove here, Schultzy. Is Trevor Lawrence played, for the Titans or the Jets, and you just watched him, the same stretch of elite fantasy scoring, touchdown consistency, and team totals? Would you actually slam him in your top 5, or do you have him right now in your top 5 dynasty rankings right now? And if you do, who are you kicking out?
Well, I mean, I think I was probably one of the last people hanging out hope for this guy, but it's coming around, and for me, it's awesome, obviously, as the Jags fan, but also as a Jags fan, I've watched dang near every snap this guy's taken in the league. And the thing here is, even when everything is not been going well, even when he has struggled, some of the throws that he puts on film are, you just can't ignore. There's not many dudes in the league who can do some of these things. Now, and then there's been on-field things that I can't quit this guy. He, with that 22 stretch run, he had multiple double-digit point playoff, or not, well, he had one in the playoffs, but multiple double-digit comebacks in the regular season down the stretch to push this team to a division title and make the playoffs, where he had that ridiculous comeback against the Chargers in the wild card game. So there's that. We had an 8-3 start in 2023 before he just got absolutely wrecked by injuries. And when you combine the 22 stretch run with the 8-3 start, we've got a 17 game stretch from Trevor Lawrence where he's 13-4. He brought Christian Kirk in, and that dude finishes like wide receiver 12 and 22, something like that. Like Christian Kirk, man, he gave Zay Jones the best season of his career. He's elevated pretty mediocre people around him. We just had injuries the last couple of years that have really derailed this. And we came out this year, Brian Thomas couldn't do anything, like alligator arm and everything. He had the yips over the middle of the field. And it's honestly looking like adding Jacoby Myers to this offense is like when Happy learned how to putt, man. This is really all come together, and he's got a dude he can trust. And I think that's been the world of difference. You could tell he had no trust in these receivers throwing to BTJ, who, like I said, had the yips, and De'Ami Brown, man, who's now the 4th, 5th wide receiver on this team. Offense is really coming around since the bye. They're averaging almost 33 points a game. Trevor's got 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns since the bye week. I don't have him in the top 5. Like I just wax poetic about him, but like that's even pushing it for me. I think he's 7 right now, right? Like this season, I think 7 to 10 range is pretty appropriate. I don't think I need more consistency. Like we've only been on fire for a month, and there's probably going to be stretches of games still where Cohen's just going to run the ball a lot again. Like I think there's going to be some ebbs and flows to this. I don't think he's going to go out here and do this every week. But yeah, 7 to 10 range for me. I think like right now you're seeing a lot of like Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Caleb Williams, like that ballpark. I think he can slot in with those guys because he's going to add rushing on the ground. Like he's getting you anywhere from 3 to 6, 7 points without even adding the touchdown, on the ground, which I want to say since like 2022 or something, I think he's 5th in rushing touchdowns at quarterback behind, or 4th behind the big 3, behind Allen, Lamar, and Hurts. So like he gets it done on the ground too. I'm firmly comfortable slotting him over Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix, Jordan Love, some of those guys. So we've got a head coach pairing. Like we don't have to worry about him losing his coordinator to become a head coach. Like there's stability here. We've Liam Cohen is for real. Trevor signed around for a long time. Jacoby just got signed today. All arrows are pointing up here. They're learning how to use Brian Thomas, right? Like this is looking more like how LSU used him. And if that's the case, we're not going to get the 10 to 12 targets a game for him, but it's going to be 5 to 6 very meaningful ones. They're using him down the field more. And I didn't even mention Travis Hunter. Like we're getting Travis Hunter back. At this point, he is still a top 15 wide receiver in missed tackles forced. And he's played what, half the games? Like that's pretty bananas. We're going to add more talent to this. The arrow's only pointing up here, but I think I want longer stretches of what we're seeing before I could put him in the top 5 still.
Yeah.
What's your confidence level against a team like the Denver Broncos this week?
I mean, it's pretty strong. Liam Cohen is absolutely cooking. When I see people breaking down some of the plays, I wish I remembered the name of the one guy who's doing it. He sounds like he's like so intense about it. Sounds like John Madden, but he's awesome.
Oh, film watchers.
Yes, that guy. He's been dropping some awesome videos, but he's done a few on Liam Cohen about some of the looks he'll put out, and then I mean it could be from 3-4 weeks ago, and then he'll bring him back out and do something completely different on you. I feel pretty solid about this. I don't like, and then I also saw, I mean, I guess the Broncos specifically run a ton of man, and that's where this offense has done really well. Trevor is thrown really well against man, but Brian Thomas on the outside, if you get him on single man, like boom, there it is. So I don't know, man. I have full faith in Liam Cohen right now, and if he's dialing up with the way he has in the last month, I don't think the Broncos are going to like fully cap him. I mean, they're not going to score 30, but I don't think they're dead in the water.
I like this. I like Trevor this week. Honestly, I think he's a good play, and I think this is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a really good game. Chev,
I pose a question to the panel.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence this week or Jackson Dart?
Lawrence.
I think so. Give me Trevor.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lawrence.
It's going to be such a competitive game.
Yeah, I mean, Bigz has Jackson Dart as one of his sits of the week this week on the forecast, and he laid it out pretty good for us. Bigz, you want to talk a little bit more about it?
Well, so Minnesota is gives up the third fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks in the NFL, and they just got Andrew Van Ginkel back. So they're sitting there without having had Andrew Van Ginkel for like a few weeks. So
Andrew Van Ginkel's been playing for like the last 4 weeks.
Right, but he missed some time, and they're still like a.
No, what I'm saying is like I have Andrew Van Ginkel, and I've had him for like the last month in my lineup. They don't have Jonathan Gennard and somebody else in the same. Josh Metellus is who they lost.
Yeah,
but Andrew Van Ginkel's been playing for like a month or a month and a half.
They did lose Metellus this week. Right, but he missed 5 weeks, and they're still sitting there at third against quarterbacks. So if he beefs up their pass rush, Jackson Dart can run. They've been pretty good against non-mobile quarterbacks, and then haven't been terrible. They've been kind of mid against mobile quarterbacks. So I don't have a lot of faith in Jackson Dart this week.
It scares me because I have the decision of starting Dart or Trevor Lawrence. And I made the wrong decision last week, even though it ended up being an okay decision.
Yeah.
It wasn't the A+. It was just like a B-.
Mine were Dart and Purdy, and I went with Purdy, and Dart and Prescott, and I went with Prescott.
A question. How about JJ McCarthy versus Trevor Lawrence this week?
Why are you trolling?
I'm just because this is where it comes from, because the allegations against Trevor Lawrence are he's got to do it against a more formidable defense. And I look at JJ McCarthy, and the only thing he's been able to do is defeat cakewalk defenses, and he gets another cakewalk defense this week. So I didn't know if like the cakewalk against the Giants would outweigh the firmness and toughness of the Jaguars matchup versus the Broncos. I don't want to get caught up in any recency bias, so I just had to ask the panel. Just had to ask the question.
The Broncos the Broncos are real stiff. It's going to be a real stiff test for Trevor Lawrence. Maximum stiffness.
Some of my friends in my home league and my whole high school buddies, they call him Surfboard.
Hey, I will say, speaking of like Darnold's just taking a dump tonight, hopefully it's prescient, but I have started JJ McCarthy over him in the super flex. So to God be the glory on that.
Yeah.
For now.
I still like McCarthy against the Giants, but I would start Lawrence over him.
It's really tough. It's really tough. Like, one, you don't want to. The worst feeling for me personally is like trying to chase that monster performance last week, and then he comes out and gives you like 13, and you're like, man, this stinks. Like, Trevor Lawrence has always had this in his bag. It's just that Schultzy hit it all on the head, man. Like, he got unhealthy in 2020. Like, after the 2022 Schultzy, his second year, where he was like QB8.
That was the playoff year, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next year, it was kind of up and down with Calvin Ridley because he developed a case of the Megan Fox thumbs and or being called out several times, you know, where it was like, oh man, if you just got 2 feet down, it would have been a touchdown. Like, and then it all fell apart when he got hurt. And then, you know,
he legit had like 3 of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was all in on Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley in 2023, and I have lived to tell the tale, and I've been out on Trevor Lawrence ever since. But now I might be back in.
I'm not expecting a 45-point game from him. I just I think his chances of 25 are really good.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just want, if I got 25 again, I promise you I would run naked through Walmart.
And I think that makes you more confident when he gets the just right, just good enough points in a tougher matchup. And then the cake matchup the next week against somebody like the Colts, where it's going to be more shootout conditions.
Yeah.
You're back on that confidence level, just hits a baseline. So I think this is just a good litmus test.
Yeah.
And I see Dart right around 16 to 20 points. So
that's the thing is like I guess are you taking the home run swing with Dart? Because it could be, you know, it could be 35, right? He could go 9 for 63 and a touchdown again, and then 225 and a touchdown through the air. And that feels like, hey, if they just don't do a bunch of dumb stuff like they did last week, we're home. But then with Trevor, it's like, well, you know, he's not going to do too much dumb stuff, and they have a way better running game, and like he's running the ball too. So I don't know. This has really helped me talk through it because I was going to feel crazy about putting Trevor Lawrence in there.
No, to me, I mean, like how close is this matchup though, Chev? I mean, if you're tight with him, if you need the floor play, I think Trevor Lawrence is the pick there, because like he's gonna probably get a floor play. He won't have a ceiling game against the Broncos, but if you need that upside pick where you're maybe an underdog in this matchup and you want to go for the glory, I mean, Jackson Dart's probably going to be the pick in this one because he has that rushing upside. And if you need somebody that has that ceiling and you need to, you know, if you're coming from behind to save JSN's on your team right now and you need to, you know, get some points, I think Jackson Dart might be the play. I think,
I feel personally attacked.
Well, why?
Because in that league that I have JSN, I am sitting Jackson Dart for Dak Prescott. Now I feel attacked. Like you were talking to me personally.
Well, I mean, Dak's matchup too. I mean, that's not a great one either. So
I know.
Yeah.
So the situation. Matter of fact, let's get back to the episode and we'll talk about it once we go off camera, because I have derailed this into
this is great. Our viewers right now are probably in the exact same scenario as us right now, talking through this, and they probably want to know more about what we're talking about at this exact moment, talking through these matchups.
Yes,
because it's going to be, exactly. So I think this is important stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in a dead heat, so like it is dead even, like straight down the middle. He's missing Devontae Adams. I'm probably not going to have Rashee Rice, but I get Drake London back. But I also have to start two tight ends.
And how good is Drake London going to be back? You know, with this PCL, we saw what happened to Ricky Pearsall. So what's our confidence level? I love Drake London, but what's the confidence level that first week back?
I'm assuming that, so Ricky Pearsall ran all the routes and played like 78% of the snaps that first week back. They just didn't throw it to him. But there's only like one receiver with a higher targets per route run than Drake London on the season. Like that is how they move the ball through the air on offense. It's like,
you box them, you ship them, you're going to start.
Yeah. Oh, the minute that they say like, oh, Drake London's going to be active on Sunday morning, like he's already in my lineup. But
then to it, what's our confidence level first week back?
The level of confidence scale
1 through 10.
1 to 10, I'd say probably like a 7, 6.5, 7.
I'm an 8.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he's playing. He like, why would Atlanta want, like, what do they need to play him for? You know, like, what's the like.
All right, so that's another thing that we can talk about is like the NFL is not like, we're not load managing here. Like they are not allowing that. They're not, like, the Commanders shut Jaden Daniels down because it's like, hey man, your elbow's about to actually fall off.
Yeah. And
like we were gonna let you do this, but also we've got a pretty bad track record with protecting players. So we're not gonna let you Joe Theismann or Alex Smith or Robert Griffin III yourself. All quarterbacks for the Commanders, by the way.
Yeah, we're crazy.
Like they're like, man, we can't, like, we're gonna bubble wrap you and treat this like this is, a sequel to Final Destination, dude. We will see you in April.
Yeah. Well, one more week on Drake London, like if the franchise is really valuing their asset here, what's 1 week? You know what I mean? So if they're playing him, to me, I think he's full wheels up. So that's why I'm playing him. Like they have no reason to rush him back because they're a team that's not even in the hunt whatsoever, right? They're a joke at this stage, and why would you not want to preserve your weapon for long-term purposes, especially when maybe Kyle Pitts is moving on next year. There's some things that could develop, right? So
the thing is
the fifth. You don't have to get Drake London hurt.
Yeah, and Mike also just put Drake London on the trade block in the league, so just FYI.
Yeah, no, I've already fired off an offer. I was fully aware of that. I was not going to mention it out loud, but since we're here. Hey, check your trades, Mike.
It's percolating.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say that the only thing I would say about Drake London is just that he's going to go out there and remind them why they're going to pay him $130 million this year. That's the only reason.
That's it.
Okay, that sounds like more than 6.5, 7 confidence. So I like it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's the reason that he's playing. It's like, hey, I'm going to remind you why you're going to pay me $130 million, and we won't have to do any of this nonsense.
Yeah, and absolutely cruel the run out that happened for Drake London because he was just, wide receiver 1 continually, and he was no signs but to stay there. And then the other cruelty is Michael Penix getting hurt because it was just bow and arrow, just lobbing them out to Drake London, and I miss it.
Well, hopefully we see it this week. And you know what? Somebody that we haven't really seen a whole lot of in the last couple of weeks, and it's a tough dilemma for fantasy and dynasty managers. And I'm talking about a cornerstone or an asset that has a peak confusion, and that's Breece Hall. Week 15 was supposed to be about survival, but for Breece Hall managers, it felt more like a slow realization in a 48-20 implosion against the Jaguars. Hall looked human in the worst way. 12 carries, 23 yards, 2 quiet catches, and visibly limited with a knee issue lingering all week. This isolated event happened, and we're looking at Isaiah Davis ripping off big chunks, and now it sets the stage for a controversial conversation. And what's Hall doing? He's just 24 years old. He's still flirting with 1,000 rushing yards, still sitting with 3 straight seasons with a 1,200 plus yards from scrimmage, despite being one of the league's most dysfunctional environments. And with free agency looming, what if scenarios are multiplying fast? Yo, you and Chev Bigz have been some of the loudest Breece Hall truthers I know. So let's stress test it. Over the last month, his yards per carry, explosive run rate, and weekly RB finishes are trending down while his snap share stays high. Let's be honest. Are you still valuing him as a top 10 dynasty asset? Obviously, next year, he could have a new environment. Is he slipping into a tier with less production now? What are your thoughts?
What's the question? And
What?
do I still? I mean, you had. There's 3 questions in there. Do I have him in my top 10 moving
Yes,
forward?
let's start that one.
100%. And if there was a higher percentage than that, then it would be that percentage. I am 100% all in on Breece Hall. Now, I asked in the cold open, what do you do if you're in a dynasty league and you're out of the playoffs? I'm going to get Breece Hall. If he's on a team that's not in the playoffs, I'm going to get Breece Hall. If he's on a team that's in the playoffs and I have a valuable running back, I'm going to get Breece Hall. Breece Hall is a generational talent on a terrible, terrible team. We see a similar situation with Ashton Genty and the Raiders. At some point, hopefully this year, as he's an unrestricted free agent, Breece Hall lands a good deal somewhere in the range of $15 to $18 million from a team that's going to prioritize him, understands his worth, and is more competitive than the New York Jets with a revolving door at quarterback that is inefficient and they can't win games. So yeah, Breece everywhere all the time. Make it happen. Buy the dip. I mean, this is going to be the lowest a former RB2 finisher is going to be until he retires.
So, I mean, I got a question. I got a question about this then, because, you know, these NFL teams, what are their thoughts on Breece Hall then? Because, you know, he was sought after potentially in our spaces, you know, free at the trade deadline. You know, the Chiefs were involved and they wouldn't even give up a 3rd round pick for him. So if teams like that aren't going out and pushing the chips for him, you know, in a Jets team that, you know, were giving up assets at the end of last year, like, are we 100% certain he's going to go into another team and get the lion's share of the carries right away? Or could it be a split back?
If you're sitting on Breece Hall and I come to you and I say, give me I'll give you a 3rd rounder, or I'll spend fab. What
No, I'm talking a 3rd round NFL pick.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So I would much rather have the 3rd round NFL pick than fab. Like, I would give up the money is my point. Give up the money rather than the draft pick. So there's no reason, if he's an unrestricted free agent and the Jets don't have any leverage whatsoever, there's absolutely no reason to pay up for Breece, because you know that you could throw a bag of money at him in the offseason and it's not really going to help you much this year, but you have that guy, that dude.
Chev?
Gentlemen, how soon we forget. We were just in this position a couple years ago with a guy named Saquon Barkley. Breece Hall isn't as shifty, nor is he as physically gifted as Saquon Barkley, but it's not far off. Like, he might not be in the same block, but he's in the subdivision. I promise you that. Like, that is, you are talking about a rarity of rare talents at the running back position in the NFL. We got a guy who caught 76 passes in an offense that they, you know, that was the only person that they could throw the ball to besides Garrett Wilson. Like, that's who he is. Like, he's one of the most explosive running backs in the NFL. This offense, much like Saquon's last year in New York, is just not suited to support his skill set in any way, shape, or form. Like, and I don't mean that tongue in cheek. I mean, like, this is one of the worst offenses that we're going to see. Like, this is worse than when the Giants started Tommy DeVito. Like, it just, I mean, Brady Cook's the guy that made us think that Luther Burden sucked. Okay. That's who he is. All right. Like, that offensive coordinator at Missouri is a terrorist, and Brady Cook is his first in command. Okay. So there's no question. And here's the thing. My feet are taped to the bicycle. You cannot convince me that there's 10 running backs that are more talented than Breece Hall. And like we can argue about it all you want. Like how whatever you could say, you cite whatever declining metric that you want to use to describe Breece Hall. I do not care. I do not care. I promise you, I will be the guy that sticks my head in the sand and is like, hey man, Breece Hall's still good. Deal with it. I mean, this is those scenarios. I learned a very valuable lesson playing fantasy. And it goes back to 2016. I'm a big Todd Gurley guy. Like that was the first running back that I was just like, oh, this guy's going to be a superstar. Oh my gosh, Kenneth Walker. My goodness.
Finally.
I just
love
had
him.
I just had a Randy Marsh moment, and I may or may not be covered in ectoplasm if my camera goes off. Don't worry about it, guys. Anyway, as I was saying, what the thing with Breece Hall is that he is a special talent. Like he's a Jonathan. This is going to sound sacrilegious, guys. He is a Jonathan Taylor level talent.
Yeah.
That is not hyperbole. That is not, you have to make the distinction between the talent and the environment.
Yes.
If you put Breece Hall behind that Dallas Cowboys offensive line, he's going to be a top 3 running back next year. If you put him in Kansas City, he's going to be a top 3 to top 5 running back just because Andy Reid will get bored and he'll get 12 touches for like a month straight. And then they'll be like, oh, my bad, bro. Here's 22 touches and here's 160 scrimmage yards, bro. So I fully support. Me and Bigz don't often align on. There's a lot that we align on, but there's more that we disagree on. We are in lockstep on this. My feet are taped to the bicycle, and it's a tandem bicycle, and Bigz is doing the pedaling in the front. All right, boys.
We agree on most stuff. We just vehemently disagree on a couple things. So Breece Hall, and then the other guy that I'm going after hard is Tyler Algier.
Good point.
Good one. Yeah. With that, I mean, if you look at that Breece Hall situation, and I was just trying to get some, conversation flowing, and it ended up sparking up some good stuff because I'm on board with you guys with Breece Hall here, and I think that when we look at the running back market the last couple of years, these running backs that are going into new situations, like 2 years ago, Saquon Barkley completely rejuvenized himself. Josh Jacobs the same way. These running backs going into new situations. I think this could be a Breece Hall situation where he could be that next step.
Well, you pray for opportunities like this in the vein of a Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, somebody who's in that ballpark. It's Breece Hall, absolutely. And what do we know? We know that he's talented. We know he's capable. Chev talked about the 76 receptions he had, 17.1 fantasy points in 2023. It was number 6 in fantasy points per game. He's just a game wrecker, a game changer. And what has changed? He's been in a offense that's not conducive. So if we just know that it's a bad area, bad opportunity, and 25 years of age, there's so much to like about Breece Hall. So why not just buy when there's an opportunity? We pray for dents in the can, like in Big Daddy. Hey, it just drops. Hey, Microsoft went down 3%. We pray for that. And you have to have the dynasty discipline when these things present themselves. And it kind of lulls some people to sleep. You'll notice, hey, now we are going to go into year 5, and it's like, oh, let's get, you talk about different types of fatigue. People have different types of fatigue on these types of players who everything doesn't go just right. And they think, well, because it hasn't happened yet, it won't. Hey, look at what has happened as we opened with Trevor Lawrence. And with Breece Hall, though, the talent has always been there. And we know it's a matter of what's around him. It's really not his fault. And yes, is that us over the years making excuses for when things don't pan out? Sure. But to me, they're not excuses. They're just reasons and conviction for the future. So yes, wherever he ends up, I want him. I'll absolutely buy. And the premium, he could end up being like a 3rd, 4th round pick and doing exactly what Jonathan Taylor did just this year. And then the ADP shifts. They could absolutely flip in ADP or join each other. So yes, fire them up.
All right. Okay, let's get into our next storyline, gentlemen.
Wait.
And
Before we do that, let me ask you this.
Okay.
In all seriousness, what is the price point that you would feel comfortable spending for Breece Hall right now? And we can go quick. Jeremiah?
Well, I would definitely, you know how they say 3 firsts gets any player. I think you go 2 firsts for sure.
Breece?
For Breece, yeah.
You don't have to do 2. You might not even have to do a first.
One, yeah, I'd say
But I'm
one.
saying you would. Okay, you got Breece Hall for Barkley.
Yeah, I
Straight up,
do
one
that
for one.
because Breece is 4 years younger.
Achan for Breece Hall and a 26 first.
I still want Achan.
So Achan on that side. What's got to make that one even?
The 101 and 26.
It would have to be another early second or a 27 second or something like that.
All right, let's throw Jeremiah Love 1 for 1.
I was going to say that if that 26 first was going to get me Jeremiah Love and Breece Hall, then I would give up Achan.
Now 1 for 1 though. Jeremiah Love for Breece Hall.
Oh, Jeremiah Love. I would.
Jeremiah Love goes to the Minnesota Vikings.
Jeremiah Love.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Do we get to pick a favorable landing spot for Breece?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cowboys.
Chiefs, Cowboys. Okay. So Cowboys, Breece Hall, Jeremiah Love, Minnesota
Breece.
Vikings. Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Interesting.
my gosh.
All right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I just needed to ask because
Let's rip into this
apparently
next
I
segment here,
haven't
guys.
sent out enough-
And you haven't said it enough. What?
I haven't sent out enough offers for Breece.
Oh, here's a
Uh-huh.
question. Okay, then you said no to you wouldn't need 2 firsts for Breece Hall. If you were offered Chev 2 firsts for Breece Hall, what do you do? He's out.
2
All right,
firsts
so-
for a running back in a super flex league. I got to do it.
Yeah.
Because I know 3 firsts is the rule of most any player can go at any time. So 2 doesn't.
Yeah.
2 doesn't. All right, Chev, let's get into the next segment. And that's, Jameson Williams. He just didn't break out. He's changing the math. And Chev, you called it in week 15. Put him on full display. Jameson Williams is just not a flash in the pan. He dominated, hauling in 7 of 9 for 134 yards and a score against, the Detroit Lions. I mean, I get to the Dallas Cowboys, the Rams they played last week. And this wasn't just an eruption. It was just him showing a streak of games that, is showing his potential here. He showed it last year at the end of last year. His value lies, with a debate here, Chev. His breakout has coincided 2 years in a row with, Sam Laporta being banged up. This year he's on injured reserve. His high leverage targets in the middle of the field, he's taken full advantage. Now, you nailed the breakout, no debate there, but the projection forward when Laporta returns this season, does he reclaim this target share? What's your thoughts on the cap on, his variance next year? What are we doing with Jameson Williams? Is he a borderline wide receiver 1 in dynasty conversations, regardless of his competition?
So Jeremiah and I did a show where we talked about second half heroes, and going into the bye week, Jameson Williams was the wide receiver 51. And I threw out there, I said, hey, look, this is the type of player, this is the run out that we got, where it's basically, hey, this is what could happen. He could disappear from the game plan or just not be featured at all. And I said, what's more likely? That he finishes the year around wide receiver 51, or that he absolutely nukes and gives you 3 week winning performances over the back half of the season. And he's been the wide receiver 4 from weeks 9 through 15. So I struggle with this because it is important to note that Sam Laporta is out, but you saw Sam Laporta's role take a step back when Jameson Williams came forward last year. And the problem is that Jameson Williams is a guy that can end it, like much like Tyreek Hill early in his career. That's basically what I compared him to, and the environment's very similar. Like you've got an elite tight end, you've got the number one stalwart pass catcher, and then you've got other tertiary options that that can kind of cloud and muddy it up. But Tyreek Hill was so special that you just like it was just like, no, man, we have to get this guy the ball. And to the point where the head coach was like, nah, man, I'm taking over play calling and we're going to get Jameson Williams the ball. And he's still only at one point going into, I believe, week 13, he was 52nd in the league in first read targets. And that is, I mean, that's abysmal for a guy that you want to count on in fantasy. But he's all, like I said, he's been the wide receiver 4 since week 9. It's been Michael Wilson at 18.9 points a game, and Jameson Williams is at 18.7, and that's with a goose egg, like goose faba, 9, nothing, 0, zilch, recorded no stats in the game. So I don't want to get too far out over my skis. The thing here is, how do you properly rate? Like, would he be in my top 15? That's a tough one for me. Like, he's firmly in the top 20. He was there before the season started. So has he cracked the top 15? Potentially. But again, all of this was just based on him doing it with like 105 to 110 targets. I never projected a bunch of volume. I never said, it's just that his yards per target, his yards per catch, his explosive plays, that's how we get home. And that's not something that's going away. And he's 24 years old. His quarterback's tied up for a long time. Amon-Ra St. Brown's tied up for a long time. So if you want to rate him inside, if you want to put him inside the top 15, if you want to put him in the top 12, I can't fault you. I just would not do that, because you want to bank on volume and not like the skill set of being able to score super long touchdowns, because the variance is just too high. Now, if I can get him as my wide receiver 3 in spots, I absolutely love that, because he offers you a weekly ceiling that most teams can't touch, because it's 25 points, 30 points, like, but also when it doesn't hit, it's 4 points, it's 2 points, it's 0 points. So there are much safer options. So let me ask you guys a question. Would you rather have Jameson Williams or Rome Odunze?
Jameson Williams.
I think you got to go Jameson Williams because of where the direction is going for the Bears. And I know it's later on the show sheet. We may not get to it, but I'm team Burden, Loveland, apprising more in this offense. And directionally, I would say JMO.
For sure.
Okay,
Let me ask
got
you,
another one.
Chev, Jameson Williams or George Pickens?
What?
We're
blacked
talking
out a
about
little
two
bit.
guys that have been in the league for a couple years that we see their
Same
ceiling, we
draft
see their
class.
untapped potential, and they are in situations where they are starting to get more on the national level, hit their stride, if you will. And I know you. I broke Chev. Sorry.
It's Jameson Williams.
Okay.
Just because he's not crazy.
Okay.
I got one. Jameson Williams or Emeka Egbuka?
Jameson Williams.
I'm going with Egbuka.
That's tough. I like it.
I think I go Ibuka.
Yep.
And my argument for Egbuka is just because we know that offense is going to be relying on him next year or the year after for sure, 100% as the sole contributor there. He's got that slot role that could really gain those targets, and I'm going to be more of the floor play and the longevity of a wide receiver in a dynasty. So for me, I'm gonna go with the floor guy. I think he's going to be a 8 to 10 target minimum from now on, 2026 and beyond. And for me, I think that his style of play, yeah, he's a little bit more gritty than most slot receivers, but he can work the outside as well. He's been known to play there. He could be up there. He's like a Amon-Ra St. Brown, but a bit bigger. And I think that this could be a very good situation for him. And just the floor there for me is just more of a safer play. I mean, Jameson Williams could very well be a guy that could be that X factor every game. You know, he can make or break your week, like you say, Chev, but he could also give you that zero burger, and that could really destroy your lineup. And I think the longevity of a Mekabuka style of play, I think, will keep him in the league a little bit longer. And I think that's a liability factor with when you think about Jameson's history, and sometimes you can't erase that.
Oh, Sam Darnold just dirted one to Jason.
Man.
Under the glass
Yeah,
case
that
of
was I
emotion.
was about to make a point, guys, and then I saw the ball just skipping towards.
That was like
I
Phillip
forgot we
Rivers.
can't-
The ball just dropped.
I forgot we can't curse, and I almost unleashed an unholy tirade just now.
A zero burger for
Yeah.
JSN in championship weekend, and in semifinal we could be
Hey,
just
Chev, to get you back on track, I do want to point out what you were saying was really good about Jameson Williams, where if he's your third wide receiver, he's very much a pendulum swinger for your lineup, where the other guys may put more something consistent and hit ceiling. And then JMO, it's like he had this stretch where it was no more than 6, or it's a 20 burger plus. And there's really been no middle. And I think you get more consistency from somebody like an Emeka Ibuka, where Ibuka
1000%.
still has some ceiling. But I think in the perfect placement, that third receiver or that flex is a pendulum swinger with Jameson Williams going forward. But it's crazy, that little bit where you talk about Tyreek Hill has me tempted to just continue. You know how players each year over year their ADP increases, it heats up. God, thank you. Finally, JSN.
PD.
You get scared from flying too close to the sun.
Yes.
I really think a lot of that little wrinkle of what you just said got me the blood flowing and thinking of like, yeah, I'm just going to keep pressing the buttons. The same thing happened with Devon Achane, where it was like, oh no, we can't go in the third round, and then the first round, oh, it's much too much, and then he's still a top tier asset. So the climb up is real.
So here's the issue. Here's the issue, guys. Is like the third round is gonna come next year, and depending on what Jameson does in the fantasy playoffs, we're going to completely forget what happened in the first half of the season. Everybody's gonna ignore that. We're gonna push him up to like that 2-3 turn where Rashee Rice was pre-suspension, and like, are you going to be comfortable clicking the button there? I'm already mentally preparing myself to just pass him up, because you can't take a receiver with 110 targets in the third round. And you also can't create a path to him getting 130 to 140 targets. Now, that the same was said with Tyreek Hill.
You donut him in that sense. And are you talking about like redraft exposure? Best
Yeah,
ball?
like we're talking best ball drafts. We're talking next year. Like I'm thinking when I say that, like 2-3 turn, I'm thinking underdog drafts like this coming summer.
Oh, I would have exposure because you don't want to be a donut on him. I just think you can't rationally in enough of a portfolio setting do that.
Right. But would you just make sure that you're managing your exposure? There we go.
Yeah.
There's the Sam Darnold we know and love.
Yes, that's exactly it, Chev. You're going to manage your exposure. That's all you're going to do. And it's kind of like what happened with, okay, he did not hit, but Marvin Harrison Jr., when he was 1-2 turn his rookie season, you weren't going to come away, after the fact, we know it was the wrong play, but you were not going to sit there and come away with 0% Marvin Harrison Jr. So that's the problem. There really is, because the markets and ADPs have gotten so sharp and gamers know what's there. There really aren't. The last discount that I saw where I was like, my God, this is amazing, was when Jamar Chase was like round 7, his rookie season, because of the stripes on the football. And my God, if you had that again, gamers aren't getting fooled by that. So it sucks, because you're having to pay up a premium on something, that exact scenario that you said, where there's a governor and a cap on the targets that Jameson Williams has. But if you want a taste or you want to ride the ride, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
unless you pay up.
So from a dynasty perspective, to help our listeners out, what do you think, or what's the appropriate price point for Jameson Williams right now?
Okay, let's see. Let's do 26, top half of 26 super flex tight end premium. Let's say the 107. Him or 7 or JMO.
Much rather have Jameson Williams.
Me too. At 106.
Okay, so we're getting into some sticky territory.
You see what I'm doing, right? It's Jeremiah Love and then the receivers.
Yeah, it's Jeremiah Love and then the receivers. And for me, after that, it's Kenyon Sadiq. And that is, if it's tight end premium.
Is that where it gets tight? 106?
If I speak, you know what? That'll be for a different episode.
You don't want to speak Sadiq?
I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm not going to talk about it right now.
We can shelf it.
All right, we'll talk about a tight end then that is all the rave right now, guys, and that is Trey McBride. His takeover has just been outstanding this year. 2025 has been a fantasy manager's dream. If you have him on your lineup, he's turning the tight end position into a personal highlight reel. Even in a 40-20 loss against a really stout Houston Texans defense, he commanded 12 catches on 13 targets, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, cementing his status as a weekly league winner. His 32% target share, career high yardage, double-digit touchdowns for the first time. McBride has rewritten history books, including a 16-game consecutive 5+ catch streak, eclipsing Travis Kelce and putting Zach Ertz all-time reception record within reach. But for dynasty managers, you can't ignore some lurking questions. Arizona's quarterback situation, it remains murky, and rumors suggest that the Cardinals might resign Jacoby Brissett, which would be great for McBride's outlook. But this world has been set on fire by him this year. His quarterback uncertainty and Brissett rumors. Do you see him, Coach, as a locked-in tight end one overall for 2026 in dynasty leagues, or is there enough risk that a new quarterback or play caller shift could cap his ceiling despite the monster 2025 numbers? We got to remember what it was like with Kyler Murray. You never know. He could be resigned.
Was there a question in there, Mike?
No.
I'm just playing. So you're really running what – how do people feel after going with Brock Bowers in round 1? Because you feel a little burned this year, live in the moment, based on what happened. Brock Bowers right now, tight end 7, remarkably, but it's been a down year by Brock Bowers standards. With Trey McBride, I'm still going to click the button in the first round on him. And if you look, he's 147 targets last year, 16 games played. He's got 140 targets now in 14 games played. So we have 3 games left, 105 receptions to 111, 1,150 receiving last year to 1,071. So there's eclipsing there, even in the receiving yards. The yards per reception is a metronome for his whole career, 10-2, 10-3, 10-2. And then for air yards this year, 970, he has an increase there. But where is the jump? Everything that we talked about, and I called it, many of you who are on Trey McBride, the touchdown regression was going to hit. And it did. Now, did I believe that it was going to happen with Kyler Murray? Yes. Should I have been drug tested at the time? Yes. What ended up happening, me being correct about the touchdown run out, did that happen? Also, yes. But that happened because of Jacoby Brissett. And to your point, what you're talking about with what does it look like next year with Jacoby Brissett? Jacoby Brissett may have earned himself the opportunity to be a bridge quarterback into 2026. I look at if Mendoza is too high up in the ranks and he's too sought after by some other teams, is it a Ty Simpson? Is there another quarterback out there who may be able to bridge that comes up along the way while you have some Brissett and then that quarterback comes along. I'm not fearful. I'm actually just confident that the baseline is there. If we go back to last year's Trey McBride, he was the tight end 2 overall. So if there is touchdown regression, I still think it's completely in a safe area, in a safe space.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kyler was his floor. I think even anybody outside of him will be a very good upgrade. I think what we saw with Brissett over the last little while, he's pretty much unlocked him to his touchdown potential, and I think that might come down a little bit next year when we think about Marvin Harrison Jr. coming back his third year. He's come on quite a bit, and then you got to think about what Michael Wilson has done as well.
Can
So
we get rid of Drew Petzing? That would help.
yeah, that certainly would. Absolutely, yeah. Gentlemen, Chevy, what's going on?
Okay, so walk with me, if you will. Trey McBride was always the dynasty tight end. Like, that was the correct process. Just regression to the mean with Bowers, and that being the issue with that being there just weren't going to be enough passes thrown in a Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll offense to support this. Now, the other thing that we saw with Trey McBride was that he was going to get an equal amount of targets, and those are typically pretty sticky. Same run out, same offensive coordinator. Jeremiah so eloquently put it. Like, he has this thing that you say all the time is like, it was the correct result, but potentially incorrect process. So
right read, wrong outcome.
Yes. Yep. I mean, read it down to like, hey, can we get some touchdown regression? Now, we're super lucky that 2026 Steelers quarterback Jacoby Brissett stepped in and really helped us get this home. But absolutely, Trey McBride is by far and away the dynasty tight end 1. It makes me sad that he's going to be a first-round pick next year, but I feel like that's a much safer pick than picking Brock Bowers in that same, the same vein.
Shout out to Mike for being one of the earliest adopters of the Trey McBride tight end 1 idea when he went on with the football guys and wowed them with his Trey McBride as 1 over Sam Laporta take.
Thanks, Bigz, for shouting me out for that, because I took some heat on that, and then it ended up being pretty good, and I actually did well off of that one. So yeah, he's on a lot of my rosters, and I'm glad I did stick to my progressions. And Jeremiah's got a really big smile on his face, or not, I have no idea. But
something cool just happened, sort of
good, but not. All right, Bigz, take us home. It's been a great show. We're all locked into this game and locked into the games this weekend. So, folks, it's huge time in fantasy world, and we're excited to bring you home this week.
Bigz? Yeah, so if you're sitting around this weekend and you've got competitors in the playoffs and you're battling for that toilet bowl, go ahead and throw out some trades. Get some draft picks, get some assets, get some injured guys, like go grab a Malik Neighbors from somebody. Those kinds of things. That's how you build a dynasty. We have a whole ton of shows on Fantasy Sports Advice Network throughout the week. Today, the Fantasy Forecast dropped their sits show for Week 16. Tomorrow, we will be dropping the starts show, and that's going to be interesting. I put my neck out there on one of them, so you're going to want to watch that. 8:30 a.m. West Coast, 11:30 a.m. East Coast. Join me for breakfast with Bigz. I will be doing starts and sits questions and shaking up a cocktail for your morning. Get your day started. Tuesday night, we will have our weekend recap and waiver wire show for Week 16 and waivers for Week 17. And then next Thursday, points after Thursday, as soon as the clock hits 0, we go live for your championship weekend. Starts and sits questions and a recap of next week's Thursday night game. Watch Spilled Coffee after breakfast with Bigz. Watch Debbie Dojo. They just had a milestone episode. Watch from the forum on Friday. Just handle all our content. FantasySportsAdvice.com. Check out the new app. Get our merch. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and we hope you win.
Hope you win, folks. We'll see you next week.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.